angry crowds in Spain have thrown mud and insults at the country's king and prime minister who were visiting flood-affected areas. More than 200 people have died after the Valencia region was hit by the worst flooding in decades, and many locals say they're frustrated by the lack of warning and support. Bridget Rollison reports.
Well, the Spanish King and Queen had been visiting one of the hardest hit areas by these devastating floods in Paiporta in the Valencia region when they were heckled by hundreds of angry protesters. King Felipe had been walking through the streets when these protesters accosted him and started shouting things like "resign" and "murderer." And some were so angry that they picked up mud that was caked to the streets and threw it at the king, which is quite extraordinary. The king remained calm but had to be escorted by police out of the angry crowds. And these people are just really frustrated about the lack of warning that they say came before the floods, and also what's happened in the aftermath. They say that there hasn't been enough help or supplies, and they were angry that the king took 4 days to come and visit the region. The Valencia region is almost unrecognisable. A year's worth of rain fell in just 8 hours last week. More than 200 people were killed in these floods, and thousands more have been left homeless. The Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez has started to send in tens of thousands of army troops. The first of those have hit the ground and are starting to help out with this recovery, because there are still a lot of people missing in these floods. This devastation across the region is just extraordinary, and the cleanup will take years, and people are saying that the help that they've got so far just isn't enough. What has been quite extraordinary though, and quite heartwarming, is the tens of thousands of volunteers that have come from all over Spain to help out with this cleanup effort. People have been coming armed with brooms and shovels and brushes to help start the cleanup on the streets, and some have been walking kilometres into isolated areas to try to help bring them supplies. The Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez has acknowledged that there's been severe problems with this response, but a lot of residents still have a lot of questions. They say they've felt abandoned by the authorities because they haven't received enough help or supplies, and many of them have lost their loved ones or their homes.